Hi, I'm Graham and welcome back to Man vs Film. This is going to be a top 10 of movies that you can watch right now on Netflix US for the month of September 2018. So let's get started with number 10. Annihilation. A biologist husband disappears. She puts her name forward for an expedition into the environmental disaster zone but does not find what she is expecting. The expedition team is made up of a biologist, an anthropologist, a psychologist, a surveyor and a linguist. Natalie Portman stars in Alex Garland's science fiction just behemoth of a movie. The more I think about this, the more I love this movie. And I've recommended it before and I want to do it again because looking at the coming year, I can't see another science fiction movie that is going to be better than this. So let's go back and check out a movie that is definitely worth your time. This has some fantastic visuals, an enriched storyline that leaves you with the clues to an ending that you may want. You can interpret it any way you want, and I think the movie is fantastic. We have this female group of characters who go into this dangerous zone and discover monstrous elements. I still have nightmares about that whole bear sequence, which I think is one of the most outstanding in the movie, and there is haunting visuals all the way through it, like the guy who is in the drained swimming pool, which is just horrific imaged on camera. If you haven't seen this, it's now time to check this out. Number 9, Cargo. Cargo follows a man who is just trying to get his child to safety before a virus takes over his body and he is no longer to look after her. Set in the outback of Australia, he struggles to find a survivor that is not just out for their own means. Martin Freeman stars in Cargo, a movie about a zombie apocalypse that actually had me close to tears at the end of it because I was so invested in the characters and the situations. It is full of tropey scenes that we've seen done before in other zombie movies, things that are familiar, but what elevates this movie so much is the characters, the situation, and how it all evolves. When it gets to the end, we have our three characters, the baby, the man and the young girl that he discovers along his adventure, and it's heartbreaking. It truly is, and it's rare to get a movie that affects me so much emotionally, and it's even rarer to have a zombie movie that can have that kind of effect on me. Number 8, The Thin Blue Line. Errol Morris's unique documentary dramatically reenacts the crime scene and investigation of a police officer's murder in Dallas, Texas. A drifter ran out of gas and was picked up by a 16-year-old runaway. Later that night they drank some beer, smoked some marijuana and went to the movies. Then their stories dramatically diverge. This is very much a precursor to Making a Murderer. This is all about the filmmaker discovering this case, digging into it, looking at all the information and actually finding out there's been a miscarriage of justice. This is a terrifically encompassing movie that draws you in with the mystery of what actually happened and it's true life, and this actually helped free a man from jail. It's a fantastic documentary that is well worth checking out. Number 7, Stripes. When he realises his life has gone and is going nowhere, John Winger is able to convince his best friend Russell Zeitsky, whose life is not much better, to enlist in the army, despite them not being obvious soldier material. In basic training, they are only two of a bunch of misfits that compromise their platoon. Stripes is a strange movie. I grew up with it, so I have a certain love for it, probably through nostalgic eyes, but it's got Bill Murray, who is always fantastic, and it has this strange setup of almost like Full Metal Jacket, but a comedic version of that. We have the first 2/3 of the movie, which is all about these characters going through basic training, getting to know each other, being hilarious as they are, and then the final third is them being sent on a mission that is life or death, but is still kind of funny and a little bit strange, a tone shift from the start of the movie. Still, if you haven't seen Stripes, I highly suggest checking out, if only for Bill Murray's performance. It is fantastic. Number 6, Clerks. Dante Hicks is not having a good day. He works as a clerk in a small convenience store and is told to come into work on his day off. Dante thinks his life is a series of down endings and this day is proving to be no different. Kevin Smith's breakthrough movie is one that I still go back to every now and then, and I love it. It broke me into the indie world in the early 90s, and it's all about nothing. This guy who was having a midlife crisis while working in a convenience store as a slew of weird and wacky customers traipse through the door. It is low budget, it's black and white, it's static camera setups, and it doesn't do anything flashy in a filmmaking sense, but what it does do is give you this rich character that you can latch onto in rather funny situations that he gets involved in. Number 5, The Package. When a group of teenage friends go on a spring break camping trip, an unfortunate accident sets off a race against time to save their friend's most prized possession. A Netflix original, a crazy wacky comedy in the same vein as Road Trip or American Pie, this is a movie that you are either going to love or hate, but it's definitely worth just switching off the brain before you go into it. It's a silly comedy. It does have a little bit of character work, but it's all about the laughs and the jokes that are set up, and they are set up exceptionally well, with some of them really paying off with some big belly laughs in my eyes anyway. I think it is a fun movie. It's one that I'll put on in the background when I'm doing other things and tune into some of the more outlandish, funnier moments, but I think it's worth your time. Number 4, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The big screen version of Hunter S. Thompson's seminal psychedelic classic about his road trip across Western America as he and his large Samoan lawyer searched desperately for the American dream. They were helped in large part to the huge amount of drugs and alcohol kept in their convertible. Directed by Terry Gilliam, starring Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro, this movie is wild. It's one of these ones that I was really drawn to when I was younger. I could quote endlessly, and I did so with my friends, and it's still psychedelic, weird and wacky today, as well as being downright hilarious. It's a cult movie for a reason. It has a... Number 3, Cheap Thrills. Craig, a struggling family man who loses his low-wage job and is threatened with eviction, in an effort to delay facing the music at home, he heads to a local bar and encounters an old friend. The two friends are roped into a game by a charismatic and obscenely wealthy stranger, along with his mysterious wife. The couple engages the two friends in a series of innocent dares in exchange for money over the course of an evening. Each challenge ups the ante in both rewards and boundaries. I love Cheap Thrills. It's one of those movies that's just simply set up. You have a rich couple, you have two estranged friends that get together, that need cash. This couple has the money and just continually ups the dares. Would you do this? Draws a line in the sand. Would you do this? And before long, it gets outrageous, it gets dangerous, it gets illegal, and it gets highly entertaining. Number 2, Dark Places. Libby Day was only 8-year-old when her family was brutally murdered in their rural Kansas farmhouse. Almost 30 years later, she reluctantly agrees to revisit the crime and uncovers wrenching truths that led up to that tragic night. Charlize Theron stars as Libby Day in this movie, and it's all about her character whose family was killed by her brother, seemingly. And this is somebody she's been estranged for, and from the rest of her life she has been living off donations by the public who've been sending her money because of what happened to her. But the money's running dry, and she's offered by a group of true crime sleuths who want to try and look into this case, and she discovers that her brother may not have been involved with it. The murderer may have gotten away and may be coming back for her. It's a really nice murder mystery, and it's one that is just effortless to watch, with some fantastic performances and a really neat twist at the end of it. Number 1, Out of Sight. A career bank robber bursts out of jail with the help of his buddy and kidnaps a US Marshal in the process. When the two cons head to Detroit to pull off their final big scam, the Marshal is put on their case, but she finds she's attracted to one of them and has second thoughts about bringing them in. Steven Soderbergh's adaptation of Elmore Leonard's novel Out of Sight is one of the best movies I have ever seen. Every now and again I'll go back to this movie and I marvel at how well put together it was, from the mystery to the soundtrack to the actors to how it is edited and portrayed on screen. It is just simply a masterpiece of movie making, and it kind of broke Steven Soderbergh into the mainstream, who gave us a slew of great movies after this, but I don't think he's ever bettered Out of Sight. This is one of those movies that once you see it, you love it. You will continue to go back to it because of so many things. You know, one time I can watch it and come away going, that romance between George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez was fantastic. And next time I can go back to it and go, you know what, I love the editing or the stylized filmmaking. Every time I watch it, I get something else out of it. And I do think it is a masterpiece of a movie that if you haven't seen, you need to rectify that and check this movie out as soon as you can. So there we have it, 10 movies to watch for the month of September 2018 on Netflix. I hope you find something that you haven't heard of before, or an old classic that you've been meaning to check out, and I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comment box below if there's anything I missed out, what you thought of these movies, or if you would like me to check out anything for next month's list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Man vs. Film.